Putco commuters are left stranded this morning after the bus company announced that it will not be operating from today. This disruption is apparently due to diesel shortages as a result of an unpaid subsidy by the Gauteng government.
Putco spokesperson Lindokuhle Xulu says the company is working tirelessly with government to ensure that payments are processed, as soon as possible. He says this will avoid a prolonged disruption. An update on the ground for you now. Zola Sholwana is currently monitoring the situation for us from a depot in Soweto. She joins us now live. And Zola, we just mentioned there, Lindokuhle Xulu saying they're hoping for a short disruption. Their statement yesterday speaks about an indefinite halting of services, though. The question this morning is, what happens for commuters who've bought trips for the rest of the month, so to speak?
Yes, Ayanda, I think the good thing is that we have the spokesperson of Putco, Lindokuhle Xulu, who will be answering your questions and more, and he is right beside me. If you can see right behind me, buses are not moving at this point. Earlier on, we went to different bus stations trying to find commuters so we can find out how they've been inconvenienced by this operation. And we realized that most of them got the message yesterday and ended up taking taxis. So basically the bus stops are quite empty at this point. So I thank you very much for your time. We are thinking about commuters that got the message late yesterday, people that could possibly have bought monthly tickets. What happens to those people?
Well, it is unfortunate and regrettable from our side that close to 230,000 commuters have been left stranded because of this development. We had communicated sufficiently, we believe, because you'd understand that passengers also have a structure that has been appointed by government. It is the Batupili Passenger Forum as well as other forums such as the Mpumalanga commuter forums. So those forums are the ones that really help us in terms of disseminating the information to our passengers. So we do believe that we've sufficiently communicated with our passengers in terms of what is expected today, but certainly that does not take away from the impact this has. An ordinary passenger would tell us that they spend a minimum of 100 rand per day in terms of commuting to various places of work, and to 300 rand for some of them that are working on the north. So it's a big impact for them, but as a company we're working ever so hard to try and find solutions with government as speedily as possible.
Now, speaking about solutions, this disruption is a result of unpaid subsidies from March. Have you been in communication with the Gauteng Provincial Department of Transport?
We've been in constant communication with the department, or should I say we've been communicating to the department, particularly 2 weeks ago when we saw that our reserves were now tapping into them. We told them about this looming day to say that it's coming. We will run out of fuel to operate. But unfortunately, we did not get anything fruitful from those engagements. We've heard and we've seen them go into certain platforms, basically releasing a statement and saying that they've processed that money as of yesterday and that it will be reflecting in a matter of days, or particularly on Monday, to Putco's accounts. For us, the priority is to get that money and to be able to refill our tanks and get back on the road and service the community. That is the priority. We're not necessarily interested in pointing the fingers, but certainly there has been sufficient communication to them to say that this day is coming, and it has come.
So after the payment has reflected, how long do you think that the buses will take to be on the road?
What we've been told by the people involved in terms of dealing with our suppliers, particularly the supplier of fuel, is that within a day they can be able to assist us. So if we get the money today, for example, by tomorrow afternoon, they'll try to be able to fill some of our fuel tanks. So there's still a bit of time in terms of how those processes can unfold. But like I said, it's a matter of getting our hands on that money as soon as possible and buy the diesel. You must also look at the fact that we're speaking about buying diesel. We're no longer speaking about making profit, and that's the reality of many bus companies within the country. The underfunding has been quite substantial for us, and this time around we're not able to absorb those costs. As I speak to you, 6 bus companies that I know of have packed off their buses, some from 2-3 days ago. So that just goes to show and speaks volumes in terms of the underfunding of the bus sector. So we're hoping it's not just about solving this issue of the subsidy claims of March to buy fuel, but we're hoping in future that we'll be able to find solutions in terms of funding the bus industry better and moving forward, and that we will be in a better position to serve our communities.
Thank you very much for your time. So it's been one of the concerns that commuters are rather inconvenienced at this point when you think about people that buy monthly bus tickets, and now they have to find themselves having to try and find another alternative means to get to work. Earlier on, we really tried to go to their bus stations and we couldn't really find them, and Lindokuhle mentioned that they sent out a message on different platforms yesterday, so assuming that maybe they did get the message on time and they didn't even have to wait for the buses, and most of them ended up using taxis. Putco says they will be in communication about the developments of this particular story. Ayanda, back to you in studio.
All right. Zola Sholwana, thanks very much indeed for that update. Zola's live to us there from Soweto, a depot there as we keep watching the story unfold. We spoke to unions earlier on, actually, who mentioned to us that contrary to what Lindokuhle has just said, they actually didn't necessarily get a heads up about the fact that this is essentially where we're headed. There's going to be great questions asked about what could have been done to avert a worst-case scenario. Once again, Zola Sholwana, thanks very much indeed.